A lot of people found that quite irritating. Under a minute and a half left in the half, and second and goal on the 4, Cam Scatteroo. How much fun is this guy?
He's so physical when it comes to running the football against this defense. Now, one of the plays that stands out, it's third down. They kind of get a blown coverage from the Giants defensively. Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith just not able to connect.
Yeah, one of the turning points in the game for sure. And meanwhile, Scatteroo doing his thing, just keeps fighting here.
I like the fact that down on the goal line, they don't try to get too cute right now with New York. They're just hand the ball to number 44, allow him to run through people, get in the end zone.
And the gymnastics, as always, after the score. Eagles 2nd and 10 on the 15. He's trying to throw to Saquon Barkley, but is picked off by Cordell Flott.
Or all-out pressure, and Flott sits on that little out route, and it's a huge turn of events because you think Philly's going to go down, score, get right back in it. It's a massive takeaway for the Giants defense.
It had been 305 consecutive passes without a pick for him. First and goal at the 1. Once again, Scatteroo.
Yeah, there it is. The physical presence of this offense is completely revamped in a matter of a couple weeks.
Giants win 34-17. Here's Lane Johnson.
The execution isn't there. We get behind the chains. I get very predictable. At the end of the day, we got to be able to keep the defense guessing, not be predictable.
I don't get into it's predictable or pointing fingers. I think KP's doing a hell of a job, but we all got to be better, and that's just the truth. And if anybody else thinks anything different, they got to wake up.
There's always lessons to be learned in these things, and it's a lesson. We gotta choose to learn from it.
All right, you heard Dano. He's with us. Mina's with us. RC is somewhere making his way after first take from New York to Bristol. We're not sure exactly where he is, but he'll be here soon. Dano, maybe the Eagles aren't sure exactly where they is. Where are they? What concerns you the most?
I mean, there's a lot, but right now that's just too predictable. And when you are a gun-centric football team, 99% of the time, last night there was only really one snap underneath the center. There's tells that you're giving the defense of what more than likely is happening. I've talked about this, just the predictability of where Saquon is in alignment to Jalen Hurts. If he's a little bit behind, teams defensively are like, we're thinking run. Another opportunity, Saquon, he's behind Jalen Hurts. Those defensive players are teeing off on the run. And then when you go into the pass, because if Jalen and Saquon are hip to hip, you're thinking pass. A lot of their pass concepts are the same thing. This is early. They run that little stick and out route. A little bit later, they run that little stick and out route. Teams are now not only anticipating pass, but what kind. You go into that late third quarter drive or early fourth quarter drive on that pick. It's the fourth time they ran basically that same concept to the same side of the field, and Cordell Flott is just sitting there waiting for that pick. And so, and I'd say this. Right now, there's a predictability with pre-snap what they're going to do. And then there's a predictability of post-snap what they're going to get to. And the butterfly effect is, this isn't a play-action passing football team. So they're fourth least play-action pass in the NFL. So if you're a team and you see they're in the gun, which they are all the time, you're really thinking, I'm getting a quick game pass, I'm getting an RPO, which is really the same type of RPO, or we're getting a run. We're not making the defense think about all the potential plays that you can have. Way too predictable offensively.
Yeah, Dan, Saquon Barkley is being contacted behind or at the line of scrimmage on over half of his carries, sixth highest rate in football. Last year, that was 29th. You've, I think, correctly identified some of the reasons why the run game is predictable, but I'll throw another one. Part of the reason why this gun-based run game worked in the past was Jalen Hurts himself was a threat to carry, and you would see linebackers impacted. I don't think they're concerned about him carrying the football this year. When I watch them, they are crashing down on the back, and when he does keep it, he's just not punishing them to the extent that they're creating some uncertainty. That's how, if you're a gun-based running team that runs a lot of zone like Philadelphia, you win with numbers if your quarterback's a threat. Like, the Washington Commanders.
Correct.
But right now, the quarterback's not a threat to run the ball. I think this whole thing has to be like ripped up and redone. The run game in particular, but is what I'm talking about, because at the moment, the offensive line, there's some injuries there. Obviously, they're not getting the kind of push they did. But I think the bigger problem by far is what you are talking about, which is defense is completely keying in on Saquon Barkley and not being afraid of anything else.
Yeah, which is exactly what Lane Johnson said. I mean, he just spelled it out. Like, we're too predictable. We have to mix it up. Is it realistic? Mina talked about tearing this thing kind of down to the studs. Can this be fixed quickly?
Oh, there's no doubt. This is a very well-coached football team. Sirianni and the Eagles have been here. I'd say this, though. This team is realistically 2 snaps from being 2-4. If you go back to a CeeDee Lamb drop in week 1 and a blocked field goal against the Rams, it's not just offensively that they don't necessarily look themselves. This is one of the most shocking things so far this season. Offensively, they have 47 negative plays. That means a play that goes for no yardage or less. That leads the NFL. Defensively, they've only created 22 negative plays. The Philadelphia Eagles, who pride themselves as a line of scrimmage organization, that margin of 47-22 is 25. That's the worst in the NFL. So we're talking about a team that right now offensively, and that's what Lane's talking about, behind the chains, too many negative plays. And then defensively, they're not kicking butt up front like they did certainly last year. We've talked about their 4-man
they dominated Kansas City
so
in the Super Bowl.
It can be fixed, absolutely. It's going to take some really difficult conversation. And here he is.
Yeah, the defense is less worrisome to me because it's not like a...
Sorry, Mina. He made it.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey.
Are you,
Brian?
Are you even?
I think my thing came off.
Do you even have your audio equipment on? How long was the drive?
4 hours.
4 hours from the city. All right, can Mina bring us in? Mina, while he's getting mic'd up with an assist from his dear friend here, turning it around in Philly, how quickly can it happen?
I think so.
Are you good?
Yeah. Hey, Ryan. Brian. I was about to talk about the defense. The defense isn't as worrisome to me as the offense, but I think they do have their own problem, which is they're just very top-heavy. Last night they lost the 2 most important players on the defense, Jalen Carter. I guess Zach Bond I would put in that group too, but Jalen Carter, Quinion Mitchell, and you saw that there's kind of a lack of depth behind them. So I think they'll be fine when those players get back, and then Nolan Smith at some point should help that 4-man rush. But this is not a particularly deep unit. They have some stars that they desperately need to be on the field.
All right, have you caught your breath?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Weigh in.
I've been a little dramatic. I actually walked just from over there. I love what Mina's saying, though. I heard Dan, though. He talked about being able to create negative plays, right? And also being able to do that on both sides of the football. They don't have the people right now defensively. Like, when you look at this team, without Quinion Mitchell last night, also we obviously knew that Jalen Carter was sidelined. Who's going to make the special football plays? Who's going to turn the football over? How are they going to get pressure on the quarterback? And Jackson Dart had his way. The most disappointing thing to me last night, though, was watching their defense tackle Scatterbo as the night went along. And I'm talking about starters, veterans. He brought the physicality to them. And it reminded me of 2 years ago, before Vic Fangio got there, how we turned the tape on and people weren't running to the ball, right? They weren't arriving with physicality. They weren't tackling well. And we saw that last night again, that the Giants seemed like the team that wanted that football game more.
Yeah, it was so great. I mean, it's been such a desert, right, for Giants fans. And